Hi guys, welcome back. All right, so if you've been following me for a while, I'm sure you've heard me talk about the medical medium or Anthony Williams or recommend this book, which I've done probably over a dozen times. This book is my favorite book of all time. It's changed my life as well as millions of people all over the world. If you are not familiar with Anthony Williams and why he is called the medical medium, I'll give you a little backstory, but you should definitely read the book because he tells the story a lot better. So basically, around the age of 4, he started to hear a voice that would basically tell him who around him was sick and what treatment they would need. I know that sounds crazy. Started around the age of 4 when he was sitting at dinner with his family and he heard a voice that told him his grandmother was sick. He told his family, they didn't know she was sick. They brought her to the doctor. Come to find out she did have cancer. And moving forward, he knew through, as he called it, spirit of compassion, how to heal her. This went on for years. Everywhere he went, whether it be friends, family, strangers, he would always hear a voice telling him what was wrong with the person and what treatment he should be telling them to go on. All of these treatments were holistic. He tried to ignore the voice for a while because he had other plans for his life, but the voice was too strong and it became really apparent that he was chosen to do this work. So once he leaned in, he started to take on clients and started writing books and getting the word out there of what he was hearing from Spirit of Compassion. And now he's changed millions of people's lives. If you're familiar with the celery juice craze that went on for a while, this man is responsible for that. Spirit of Compassion basically told him that celery, which is an herb, by the way, would be one of the biggest healers of all time moving forward in our lifetime. And it has been. I struggle with perioral dermatitis, which is a rash around the nose and mouth. Also struggle with, like I've talked about in other videos, digestion issues. I was told I could have stomach cancer. All the list goes on. And since I started doing celery juice in the mornings on an empty stomach, I've had no symptoms. Rash gone, never came back. Celery basically alkalines your body quicker than any other food or herb or vegetable in the world. It's so incredibly healing and so good for you. Moving forward, I know I've recommended this book a bunch and I know that many of you are not going to read it. If you do, amazing, let me know, let's talk about it. But for some of you, it's just not your thing and that's totally fine. So I thought I'd bring the book to you. There's just a few things in this book that he talks about that I think are so important and more people should know about. And those things are heavy metals. We have more heavy metals circulating around our environment now than we have ever had in history. Those heavy metals are mercury, aluminum, copper, lead, nickel, and cadmium. These heavy metals circulate throughout the environment through things like
air pollution, pharmaceuticals, nanotechnology, chemicals sprayed on almost everything manufactured, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, plastics, industrial cleaners, petroleum, and thousands of new chemicals introduced in our environment every year.
So how do these heavy metals affect our body? They directly poison our body, damaging our brain, our liver, our central nervous system, and other vital areas. They weaken our immune system, leaving us vulnerable to illness, and they attract and feed cancers, viruses, bacteria, and other invaders that can instigate a serious health condition. So Anthony goes on to explain how the worst of these heavy metals is mercury. Mercury has kind of been like the silent killer that's fallen through the cracks throughout history, and that is because a lot of it comes from these manufacturers and these corporations that are trying to make money, and they're not really worried about their runoff or their, the shit that's harming the environment and the world and our health. He believes that it is the worst of the worst. Mercury never goes away unless you take specific steps to detoxify it. It gets passed on from generation to generation for centuries. So a lot of us, we get these cancers and we get these illnesses and we think that it is passed on through generation. It's in our genes, right? Our grandma had it, our mom had it, so now we have it. Not always the case. Could be these heavy metals, again, have been passed down through generations and they could be leading to these illnesses and diseases and cancers that we thought were just, in our family line. He explains how mercury is the top fuel for cancers, viruses, and bacteria. He also goes on to talk about how it's a huge component when it comes to depression, anxiety, ADHD, autism, bipolar disorder, neurological disorders, list goes on. He also claims it's 100% responsible for Alzheimer's, which is really unfortunate. So, how do we get rid of these toxins in our body? How do we properly detoxify our bodies? Because let's face it, we can't run from it. It's all around us. It's in our food. It's in the air we breathe. It's everywhere, right? So what steps can we take to detoxify? He gives a list of 5 ingredients that help detoxify these heavy metals from our body. He also has a smoothie recipe on his website, which incorporates all of these ingredients. I also have my own version on my website, which is based around his, but I'll go ahead and tell you these 5 ingredients so that you can incorporate them in any way that you would like in your everyday life. Barley grass juice extract powder, spirulina, preferably from Hawaii. You can get both of those on Amazon. Cilantro, wild blueberries, wild is key, must be wild, and then Atlantic dulce. Anthony truly believes that there's almost nothing better you can do for your health than to get heavy metals out of our body. So I hope you found this interesting, or maybe it helped you in any way. If you have questions, again, hit me up. You should go follow Anthony because he's the shit and he has so much knowledge that's just spewing out of him daily. But yeah, stay well.